Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Doctors to Be. So guys, in the previous video we discussed surfacely about the blood supply of the internal capsule. We drew a figure showing the arteries that supply the internal capsule and also showing their course. So if you have not watched the previous video and other videos on internal capsule, you can find all the videos of about internal capsule on the playlist neuroanatomy, and I'll also leave the link of the videos in the I button so that it will be easy to find those videos. And I recommend watching the previous video and the other videos on internal capsule for continuity. Okay, so those who have already watched the previous video, let's start with the today's video with writing the points on blood supply of internal capsule. Okay, so blood supply of internal capsule. So this blood supply will discussing about the blood supply will also give some clinical knowledge. On the basis of these things we'll discuss about the clinicals of the internal capsule. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so the first artery is, I'll go in the same order. Okay, anterior cerebral arteries. This is the same order that we wrote in the while labeling the diagram in the previous video. Okay, anterior cerebral artery. So in the previous video I just discussed surfacely that anterior cerebral artery supplies this part. I didn't discuss about the branches. Okay, so straight branch of anterior cerebral artery supplies anterior limb and the genu. Yes or no? Anterior limb and genu. I am writing AL, that is anterior limb. Okay, in short form, so don't get confused, because okay, so that we can save some time and also space. Okay, anterior limb and genu. And this artery, anterior cerebral artery, takes recurrent course. Okay, this is first point. And the second point, it takes recurrent, this is a bonus point so that you don't miss the MCQs. Okay, so it takes recurrent course so also called recurrent branch of Hebner. Okay, recurrent branch of Hebner, NER. Okay, this is N. So the anterior cerebral artery, it takes the straight branch of anterior cerebral artery supplies anterior limb and genu. Okay, and it takes the recurrent course. Anterior cerebral artery takes recurrent course, so it is also called known as the recurrent branch of. It is also known as the recurrent branch of Hebner. Okay, so straight branch supplies the anterior limb and genu. Okay, now let's discuss about the second one, that is the middle cerebral artery. Yes or no? So middle cerebral artery. So we told that medial, I mentioned once about this. If you don't remember, now you can remember by reading this: medial straight branch and lateral straight branch of of it supplies, it means middle cerebral artery, okay, supplies the posterior limb. Yes or no? We discussed about previous that this one. We just told that the middle cerebral artery supplies the posterior limb. Okay, so medial striate branch and the lateral striate branch, okay, supplies the posterior limb. And the lateral striate branch, this is also a bonus point, okay. The lateral striate branch, I was just joking about the bonus point, okay, try to remember this. The lateral striate branch is a larger branch, okay, and it is more frequently ruptured, is large and more ruptured frequently. So it is called Charcot's artery of cerebral hemorrhage, okay. So the middle cerebral artery, the medial, okay, middle and medial, don't get confused, okay. Middle cerebral artery, medial striate branch and the lateral striate branch of the medial cerebral artery. It means middle cerebral artery supplies the posterior limb of the internal capsule, and the lateral striate branch, okay, the lateral striate branch is large and ruptured frequently. It is ruptured frequently, so rupture will call hemorrhage, rupture of the arteries will obviously call hemorrhage, so it is known as the Charcot's artery of cerebral hemorrhage, okay. This is hemorrhage, Charcot's artery of cerebral hemorrhage. So this may be asked in the MCQs or sometimes in Viva they may ask. So you can remember it, Charcot's artery of cerebral hemisphere, that is the other name of the middle cerebral artery. Why it is called so? Because the lateral striate branch, okay, is large and it is ruptured frequently, so it is known as Charcot's artery of cerebral hemorrhage. So the third artery is the anterior choroidal artery, okay, A for artery, anterior choroidal artery. This is supplies sublentiform part, yes or no? Sublentiform part supplies the sublentiform part. Then the fourth artery is, after anterior choroidal artery, we have the internal carotid artery, okay, internal. Why I have written ICA? Because in the figure I mentioned ICA, that's why internal carotid artery supplies to the direct branch from it, direct branch supplies to the genu, okay, direct branch, sublentiform part, genu. This is the sublentiform part, okay, so don't get confused, okay, sublentiform. Then the fifth artery is the posterior communicating artery, okay. Posterior communicating artery supplies to genu and posterior limb. This about this artery, posterior communicating artery, we didn't show this artery in the figure because it might cause the figure to be rough. Okay, that's why we did that mentioned it. The sixth artery is the posterior cerebral artery. Okay, and this artery is supplying to both sublentiform, both sub and retrolentiform part. Okay, so this is about the blood supply of internal capsule. Now we shall discuss about the clinicals. So these are clinicals are quite simple based on the blood supply. So let's discuss about the clinicals of the internal capsule. So I told that these are based on the blood supply. So first, recurrent artery. Okay. So damage to the recurrent artery. Damage to the recurrent artery due to what can cause damage or blockage of the recurrent artery or any artery. The majorly there can be rupture in the artery. There can be rupture to keys the blood supply, to halt the blood supply. Either there should be the there should be the rupture of the artery or thrombosis. Yes or no? Thrombosis, rupture. These are the causes of the causes that will halt the blood supply. Yes or no? So, and this applies for other arteries also. Okay, so I write over here rupture or thrombosis. Okay, so what happens when there is rupture or thrombosis to the recurrent artery, in the recurrent artery? So this is the same artery, recurrent artery of Hebner. Okay, I am just writing recurrent artery. So the recurrent artery is supplying to the anterior limb and the xenu. So, and it is supplying to the anterior limb, xenu, and starting of the posterior limb, upper part of the posterior limb, starting of the posterior limb. So what are the fibers, major fibers present in over here? So let's write supplies anterior limb, xenu, and upper posterior limb. So the major fibers present in these parts are the corticonuclear and corticospinal. Yes or no? So we have corticonuclear and corticospinal fibers. Yes or no? Corticonuclear in the xenu and corticospinal in the upper part of the posterior limb. Yes or no? So in the upper part, we if you remember the figure in while drawing about the corticospinal, we made this part. Okay, this all three we told are the as the corticospinal. So first one, this upper part supplying to the upper limb. Yes or no? This to the trunk and this to the lower limb. Yes or no? And the corticonuclear in the xenu was supplying to the head and neck. Impulses to the head and neck. So rupture or thrombosis is a recurrent artery will damage will halt the blood supply to these fibers. It will cause damage to these fibers. So damage to these fibers may lead to hemiplegia. Okay, that is paralysis of opposite side. Okay, opposite side. This is opposite side. And which parts? The head and neck. Yes or no? This part is supplying the head and neck. No, corticonuclear is supplying the head and neck. So the parts involved are the head and neck and upper limb. Yes or no? So parts involved are face and upper limb. So once again, so that you can understand it, recurrent artery, okay, rupture to the recurrent artery or thrombosis will halt the blood supply to the anterior limb, genu and upper posterior limb, because the recurrent artery of habenauer is supplying to these parts of the internal capsule. So these parts, anterior limb, genu and posterior limb, these parts contain the major fibers are the corticonuclear and corticospinal, yes or no? And corticospinal, the upper part is supplying to the upper limb, yes or no? And the corticonuclear is supplying to the head and neck, supplying impulse to the head and neck. So damage to these corticonuclear and corticospinal fibers due to the halt of blood supply may cause hemiplegia. And what is hemiplegia? That is the paralysis of the opposite side, okay, yes or no? So opposite side, why opposite side? You know that if you have a right-handed person, then your dominant hemisphere will become the left hemisphere. This we also discussed about the discussing about this. We also discussed while discussing about the corpus callosum. If you are a right-handed person, your dominant hemisphere will be the left. That's why damage to the left side of the left side capsule will damage your hemiplegia of the opposite side, paralysis of the opposite side, right side, yes or no? So that's why opposite side. And the parts involved will be, obviously, if it is the corticonuclear is supplying to the head and neck and spinal is supplying to the upper part of the spinal is supplying to the upper limb, then the upper limb and the face will be the parts that will be involved, okay, in the paralysis. So now the Charcot's artery. So the Charcot's artery is supplying to the posterior limb, yes or no? Supplies to the posterior limb. So damage to this due to thrombosis or rupture will damage the pyramidal plus extrapyramidal fibers. Plus means and, okay, pyramidal, and it will damage the pyramidal and extra pyramidal fibers. So the pyramidal fibers, the important pyramidal fibers include the, again, corticonuclear and corticospinal, yes or no? So in posterior limb, corticonuclear is not present. There is only corticospinal. This part is in the the corticonuclear is in the genu. So now in posterior limb there is the corticospinal, upper part, lower part, and supplying the part of corticospinal supplying to the upper limb, trunk and the lower part. Yes or no? So the paralysis will be to the parts, paralysis of opposite half, and the parts involved are upper limb, trunk and lower limb, yes or no? Because the corticospinal fiber are supplying to the upper limb, trunk and the lower limb, yes or no? So these parts will be involved in paralysis of the opposite half, yes or no? And the third one, lesions in or of posterior 1/3, okay, posterior 1/3 of the posterior limb, sub and retrolentiform part, so what does this leads to? So okay, we know this is lesions of the posterior 1/3 of posterior limb, sub and retrolentiform part, okay, lesions in these parts. As we know, the posterior 1/3 of the posterior limb and sublentiform and retrolentiform part consists, the major fibers in these part are the auditory radiation and the optic radiation, yes or no? So lesions in these parts will result result in visual and auditory loss. Okay, so the fibers are auditory and optic radiation. So lesions cause loss of these sensations, optic and auditory sensation will be lost. Yes or no? Because these are the sensory fibers, optic radiation and auditory radiation. So this is all about the clinicals of the internal capsule, and with this saying this much, we'll end our discussions on the internal capsule. And you can find all the videos about internal capsule in the playlist named Neuroanatomy, and I'll also try to include these videos in the I button and also in the end cards, so that it will be easy for you to find them. And I recommend you to watch all the videos on on the internal capsule, so that you can have continuation. Okay, because we have splitted the content whole topic in various videos, okay, various parts. So once again discussing about these clinicals: recurrent artery, Charcot's artery, and the lesions in the posterior 1/3 of posterior limb, sublentiform and retrolentiform part. To rupture and thrombosis will halt the blood supply to the parts, okay, to these parts, to various parts of the internal capsule. Either there can be rupture or thrombosis. So if there is rupture or thrombosis in the recurrent artery, blood supply to the anterior limb, genu and upper posterior limb will halt. This will damage the corticonuclear and corticospinal corticonuclear and corticospinal fibers, which will cause hemiplegia, that is the paralysis of the opposite side, and the parts involved will be the face and the upper limb, because corticonuclear supplies the head and neck, and the upper limb, the upper part of the corticospinal will supply the upper limb. Yes or no? Then thrombosis or rupture to the Charcot's artery will keys the blood supply to the posterior limb, and the posterior limb consists of the pyramidal and extrapyramidal fibers. Yes or no? So the major fibers are the corticospinal is the major fiber in the